tell Matt so he can
I have
turn it on.
grandchildren and they're waiting for me to take them swimming. So, it's on time. Okay, just call to order, and I don't, do I have to read all this stuff about the executive session stuff as a precursor?
I'm not sure you need to read it.
I don't need to read that. I'd like to request a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second,
Has to be a roll call vote, I believe. So, Margot?
Margot Fenn, yes. Aye.
Lane?
aye.
Marcy Smith, yes.
Dave Callahan, yes. So I declare us officially in executive session. I'd like executive session. We'll start now, start the regular session. We have no public per se, so I guess there's no public comment. Old business, I'd like to hear for some proposals or motions to approve the minutes of June 21st, and then we'll do July 19th.
I move approval of the minutes of June 21st.
Any second?
I'll second the motion.
This is not roll call, or
No.
this is not roll call? Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I
Oh.
abstain. I wasn't here on June 21st.
Okay, with only 3 of us voting, is that going to allow us to approve those meeting minutes?
Good question.
Because I don't think,
Maybe we should postpone approving. So, Marco, if you'd like to rescind your motion. and
I'll
we can-
withdraw my motion.
Yeah, and
okay,
I'll
so we'll
withdraw my
delay that,
second.
we'll delay that to the June 21st until,
September.
we'll approve that in September.
Good catch.
Okay. So, let's, July 19th.
I'll move approval of the July 19th meeting minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 No one else do.
Okay, so that's unanimous.
So I assume it's unanimous
Yeah.
at this point. Actually, I don't know why I put chair report first. I'll let the members, members have a report that they'd like to give? Margot? Latest?
I don't really have an update from the local planning committee because I wasn't able to attend their last meeting. I was out of town. But I do know that there was a big housing meeting that was held with the Board of Selectmen to talk about the housing production plan, which is being updated as part of the local comprehensive plan. And the consultant who has been working on that plan came to the Selectmen's meeting, I think it was on the 31st of July. And they had a discussion of the content of that plan. The committee itself had reviewed it the week before, and I was able to be there for that. And I think she's done a really excellent job on this plan. It's looking at, all of the latest census data for the town, and looking at needs, and coming up with goals for development of different types of housing in town based on those needs. So it's there's Brad. Yeah. So if I think it's online, that you can go look it up on the local planning committee's webpage on the town site. So it's worth looking at. There's an executive. I mean, it's a long document. It's like almost 100 pages long, but there's an executive summary that will give you the gist of it. So
How would that be impacting us as a committee, do you think?
it doesn't directly, but the part of the charge of this committee is looking for land, not just for open space, but for other municipal priorities, and certainly housing has been one of those things. So, that's why I thought it might be of interest.
Brad, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. Yes, sir, I can hear you. Apologies for being late. Got a meeting thrown at me at the last minute.
Okay.
All right, we're actually going through member reports, but would you mind if we back up to
We
the,
we can't do, you talking about what we talked about earlier?
no, the approving the minutes?
Oh,
I
sure,
think
sure.
we're good, because an
Yeah.
abstention is still a vote.
Huh?
An abstention is, maybe it's
Well,
not a vote.
she reversed her, she
Yeah,
withdrew
we
her
reversed
motion.
it.
I
So you'd
withdrew
have
my
to make-
motion, but I can make it
You can
again.
make it again. Let's-
Now that Brad is with us.
We had a problem, Brad, we had an suspension on the approving the minutes from June 21st. And so, because Elaine wasn't here for that meeting, and so we didn't have enough, we only had 3 voting members out of our committee of 9. So,
Yes, 7.
now that you're here, have you raised the motion?
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 21st Real Estate and Open Space Committee meeting.
Second? Marcy?
Sure. I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
And one abstention
And
Aye.
one abstention, okay. Good.
for legal.
All right, so let's come back to member report. Do you have anything else?
No.
Elaine, do you have,
Only that I attended the Housing Trust meeting Tuesday. I guess it's on, this week's Chronicle is the whole story about they selected Penrose as the developer.
Mm-hmm.
They did provide a sheet here with some information. So now they have 90 days to go into contract negotiations with Penrose. And at the end of 90 days, if everything is all agreed upon, then the contract will be signed. There's a whole, what their process is. They did have a committee, that reviewed all the 3 responses. So they had this is their evaluation sheet that they use to evaluate the 3. If anybody's interested in it, I can pass it along and look at. But Penrose came out on top, excuse me. In their evaluation, they assigned numbers, so Penrose came out with the highest number they were determined by unacceptable, advantageous, and highly advantageous. So Penrose came up with 76 points. The next one was Mid-Cape Homes, which has 58 points, and the Archdiocese of Boston had 45. So, and they were judged on developer experience and capacity, affordability, site design, infrastructure and green design, building design, financial feasibility, and reference and interviews. So those are the criteria that they use to make their determinations. The people that were on that committee were Larry Ballantyne, who's chair of the trust, Brianna Powell, who is the housing person here for town, Megan Eldridge, the assistant, and Joe McFarland came back. Christine Flynn, the current planner, and Mary Anderson. So those were the folks. So that's moving along. So we'll see. Now, I suppose after the contract is set in 90 days, then the developer will go and have to go for permitting and funding and all the kinds of stuff to get things going. So no one actually said when an actual shovel would go in the ground, but it's moving towards it,
Yeah.
which is good after 6 years. Okay, enough about that.
yeah, I was pretty surprised that in terms of the range, that Penrose was that much higher.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe even we can make copies of it if you want it.
That's it for you?
Yeah, I didn't do much of anything else. Just kind of got involved a little bit with that new project, Friends Cafe. Folks in town are parents of young adults with disabilities, and some of the teachers from the Monomoy School District are looking to open a Friends Cafe here in town. There's also an article in this week's Chronicle about that. So, yeah.
I just got it yesterday, so
Oh, well,
I got through the
yeah.
front page.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a great idea, and I think the town fully supports it. I know the Board of Selectmen do, and everybody else is doing everything they can to help them. They're, working on the 501c3, they have a business plan, they're starting to raise funds, they're gonna have a little project here in Brooks Park, Fun Day, where people can come and do different activities and learn about it and make some donations. And they're looking for a site, There are 2 town municipal facilities that have kitchens, but the community center is booked with, their kitchen use mostly. And 204 Sisson is not a destination location. And that kitchen would have to be totally remodeled and whatever. So they're looking for another site, which I'm sure, they'll come up with. But, just trying to do, kind of help them out.
If I may interject, they're part of the Monomoy school system, which my kids graduated from, and they've been doing this Friends Cafe within the Monomoy school system for a very long time, and it's been very popular. They had like little cart that they would take around with coffee and, different things and to the teachers, and they would, purchase it, and so it gives them a lot of experience, with consumer relations and just, food service. So it's a very good program.
Yeah. We'll see what happens when a young person in the school district up to age 22, at 22, they age out of these programs. So then they're a young adult who needs to have some experience and some dignity and some learning experience to be able to, So I've said I have a connection to Easter Seals, and I know in other states they already have these cafes, Friends Cafe, well, they don't call it that, but, they have these cafes run by young adults with intellectual or physical disabilities, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
And I think the families and the parents all really appreciate that their child is able to, be successful and, be out there in the public. Yeah, so it's great. So, other than that,
Okay. Marcy, do you have
I
any
don't have any.
major developments in the real estate world that are?
We're just plugging away, It's ebbs and flows. Every day is different, so.
have things slowed down a little bit as far as sales, or are they still?
No, they're still pretty steady. It's just supply and demand, right? The inventory's still low. And so, anything that comes on the market that's relatively decent goes pretty quickly, especially anything that, and this, may sound weird, but under $1 million it's pretty hot because there's very few and far between things like that, which is unfortunate. But the interest rates are starting to kind of settle. I mean, they're never going to go as low as they were during COVID. That was kind of an anomaly, but they are kind of like, equalizing a little bit. And so, but we have, just different regulations that came down regarding buyer agency and compensation and transparency and stuff. So those are things that we're working on right now, trying to make sure that everybody is being transparent as to who's representing who and that type of thing, which I think is actually a good thing, to make sure that, what we do, what we're supposed to do is, represent the buyer or represent the seller, and we do that to the best of our capabilities. So, so lots of stuff happening.
Yeah. I guess the state too, with the new
There's no law.
rules for
Well,
allowing.
it's not, that's just state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually
Federal law.
nationwide.
Nationwide.
It's with the National Association of Realtors,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Great, okay.
Okay, Brad, you got anything to say to?
Nothing to add. Everything Marcy just said, I would echo. Market's much the same here in New Orleans, and my parents are trying to sell a house in Fall River, and we're seeing the same problem. Supply and demand.
Yep.
House that shouldn't be selling for what it's gonna sell for, just blows my mind.
Okay, so far, let me report that this has been interesting learning experience. And had I known, I want to I want to give Elaine special thanks for getting me this far. Well, that is except for convincing me to take the chair in the first place, but
The bruise on your arm is cleared up. Yeah.
that was the blood you took from, no, just myself, I'm finally working on the revised maps. I had, I've been looking at state data, I'm looking at what latest I got from assessors data, and it doesn't necessarily, the parcel things don't match, and so I've got to figure that out. And I finally got the lien data,
Oh,
which interestingly enough I discovered this morning, has a couple of columns in there on a paid date for what things that are being paid off,
mhm.
and the time, and the date of the last check. So
Well, I think we can
that's a step forward.
thank the Board of Selectmen, especially because at a meeting, when I asked for some of those things, the chair said publicly, let's see that those things are added. So thank you to Julie Kavanaugh for, I think,
Okay.
for having
Well,
brought that about.
yeah, all right, well, because that was, I didn't expect it, it's a new report, so I had to change some of my stuff this morning. I looked at it, and, whoa, that's a nice one, I'm gonna put that in there.
Yeah.
That'll show up in the map.
What was the date of that report?
Well, it was, I think it was up August 8th or something when it was sent to me. It was up to date, let's put it.
Okay.
So it's been in the last week or so.
Can you send me a copy?
Pardon?
Can you send me a copy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else want it? If
Yeah,
we-
I'll
Yeah.
take one if
Okay.
you're sending.
Okay. And, so, now it's just trying to combine it all together and colorize and everything else. And I hope that I would have something to go through, at the next meeting.
Good. Okay.
So,
Good.
unless there's some other piece of, information that we've got to do, before then, but I hope that's my objective is to.
Okay, great.
Overall, I looked at it, and then, there's several of the corrections of things that, I was aware of, and that's why I want to try to put it all together, because of all the information that I have passed to the assessor, I'm trying to get, I want to make sure those have gotten in there in some fashion. One of the things that, I was sad that I wasn't able to get to your Open Space and Recreation Committee was not, colorizing it. I don't know what the status is. Is that report finalized?
No,
Is it-
no.
So,
Christine Flynn and Amy Yasowski are working on editing it
okay.
now, because they felt that there was just a lot that's changed in the town since the last version of this thing was published, and there was no way that the consultant could know about these things. I mean, they're not local, so it just takes some local knowledge to be able to make corrections in something like that. So they have a draft from the consultant, which they're reworking, based, trying to make sure that they update all the things that should be in there, so.
Great.
I may within a couple of weeks have an updated map, so the color.
Well, that would be great. You should let Christine know that,
Okay.
because that could be a big help for them doing the maps for the plan, because the plan's full of maps.
Yeah.
Margot, what's the name of that report?
It's the Open Space and Recreation Plan
Okay.
for the town.
Okay. All right, I'll tell her. Try to take care of that, thank you.
Yeah.
that's about all I have at this point.
Okay.
So,
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
You making that motion
Yes,
officially?
I am.
Okay. Am I hearing a second?
Second.
Any discussion of why we shouldn't? Let's call it a morning. Thank you very
We
much.
have to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye.